Welcome. We're going to start. So our topic today is going to be writing formal letters. And here's the first example. At the same time, we're going to talk about grammar range, how to improve your score in grammar range. Here is an example of task 1, general IELTS. You recently had a car accident. You were not injured, but your car was damaged. Write a letter to your insurance company. So from this we can understand that this is a formal letter. You write to somebody who you don't know. This is not your friend. This is an official situation. In your letter, introduce yourself and describe the accident. Detail the damage to your car. Explain why you need your car repaired quickly. Write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses. Begin your letter with Dear Sir or Madam. Okay. So, and here is an example. Dear Sir or Madam, my name is Yuri Kondratiev and I have had my car insured for you for 6 years. Insurance number blah blah blah. This letter accompanies my formal claim to cover the cost of repairing my 2016 Hyundai Getz. I have never made a claim before, yet yesterday, on the 20th of November, a 2012 Toyota Camry ran into my parked 2016 Hyundai Getz, damaging the rear end. My car was parked by the curb. Curb, it's at the side of the road. At Caravan Road, when the at-fault driver failed to stop and crashed into the back of my car. I was not injured, yet my car suffered a fair amount of damage. The back section is dented and one light is out of order. The cost of repairing my car has been estimated at $2,000 by the at-fault driver's insurance company. The cost estimate is enclosed. My job is directly related to driving. That is why I request that you pay out the amount of $2,000 for the repairs as soon as possible. When I receive compensation from the at-fault driver's insurance company, I will repay the amount. If you need any further details, I can be reached at, and there's phone number, or at, there's email. I look forward to resolving this matter quickly. Sincerely, Yuri Kondratiev. Okay, this is an example of a letter. This letter is formal. As you can see, there are no contractions. It uses very formal language. There are 3 tasks mentioned here. Introduce yourself and describe the accident. So here I introduce myself, and here I describe the accident. Then, detail the damage to your car. Well, there are some details here. Okay. Then, explain why you need your car repaired quickly. You have it in the last paragraph. My job is directly related to driving. What is your impression of this letter? What band? Of course, you are not specialists, you are not IELTS examiners, but what band do you think this letter would get? Can you write it in the chat? Okay, Natalia, 6.5. Can you justify why such a low score? There are no grammar mistakes. There are, well, some difficult words. It covers all the points. Tatiana thinks it's 8. Okay. Simple grammar. Okay, but grammar, it's only one of the criteria. Let's look at it closer. Let's look at it closer. So real estimate would be like this. Task achievement, it's close to 9 because I would say it's 8.5, not 9. Because here we might, for example, we can give more details about why we need the car repaired more quickly. Yes, the task is achieved, but some more details could be added here. Okay, then some more details about the damage could be used, as well as some words, some specific vocabulary too. Right. So in coherence and cohesion, that will also be 8.5 because there are paragraphs. They follow the structure of the task exactly, and so that's 8.5. And the structure of the letter, so it has all the parts, all the traditional parts of the letter. Then grammar, it would be 9 in accuracy and 7 in grammar range. So it is absolutely accurate. It is correct. There are no mistakes in grammar, but it is simple. You're right. Well, not very simple because there are conditional sentences here. I look forward to it. Gerund, passive voice, again, conditional sentences. So passive voice, passive voice. So mostly it's passive voice. But there are no mistakes at all. So that would be 8. If you have a very strict examiner, maybe 7.5. And vocabulary, that's also 8, because you have you have words like the rear end. Well, there are some curb like this, at-fault driver. So you have some specific words too. So that would be 8, and the total would be between 8 and 8.5, but of course not 6. It wouldn't be 6. It's if you score 6, there are mistakes in grammar and simple grammar. So if there are no mistakes, it's closer to 7 if the grammar is very simple. Now let's try to make it a Band 9 essay. Of course, when you write your own essay, you might have other problems than this type of letter. But let's work on it together to make it Band 9 essay. First of all, we need to add some details. Details about well, what kind of accident we had. Maybe some parts of the car were damaged, and of course you can mention the parts of the car that you know in English. So, do you know any parts of the car in English? If you know, please write the examples in the chat. So I will give you, while you're thinking and maybe writing, I will also add some examples. For example, for instance, you can say windscreen, or in American English it's called windshield, лобовое стекло. Then you can mention bumper. Okay. Wheel, lamp. It's usually called not lamp, but light. It can be headlight, rear light, okay? Bumper with U, rear wheel. No, that's wheel, it's rear wheel. Front wheel and rear wheel. Sits, but you spell it like this, seat. Front door, okay, right. So there's also windshield. You can have trunk or boot. This is where you put your luggage. Boot. Boot is British, trunk it's American. On top of that, you can mention, for example, does anybody know how to say dvorniki? Windshield wipers, or in British English, windscreen wipers. To wipe, it's an action like this, to wipe. You can wipe the board, for example, wipe off dust from somewhere. Okay, then, well, just for your information, there is one more. Maybe you don't need to use it in this letter, but you can mention it in other types. There is gloves box. It's usually in the front. If the steering wheel is on the left, but the steering wheel is another one, you have this box on the right. Right, it's called the gloves box. What else? Don't forget that you also have seat belts. Oops, sorry. Seat belt. Then you can also rear view mirror. This is the driver can see what's happening behind him. Okay, rear view mirror. What else? Well, wheels, we have mentioned this. Okay, that will be enough. So what I suggest adding here is, well, you can see that damaging the rear end and crashed into the back of my car. So what you can add here is the rear bumper, the boot, tail light. You can say that it was broken. Yes, it's easy. Tail light, rear left indicator, or the braking light. Yes, so there's also brake. Brake, it's the pedal which you use to stop the car. Brake. There are two or three pedals in the car. So the one that you use to speed up, what is it called? Any ideas? It's called acceleration pedal. Then so there's brake, and if it's not automatic gear, if it's mechanic, then they also have the clutch. Сцепление. You also have it. Okay. So, and what else there is? There's also gearbox, коробка передач. Gearbox. All right. So if you use this vocabulary in the letter, then it will be very nice. Both for task achievement, because you give details of the accident, and also for vocabulary range, of course. Right. Now let's try to use some difficult grammar to describe this situation. So must have and the third form. Can I ask you to make an example? For instance, должно быть, я уже пользуюсь вашими услугами 6 лет. Or it can be any other example that is related to this situation that you can use in such a letter. Let's try to make must have, right? So like must have been, must have used, I must have used, or должно быть, я припарковался не там, где надо. Мне нужно было поискать другое место. Something like this. Please make a sentence with must have. I must have had a license for 6 years, except you need to say I must have had my driving license for 6 years, and the rest is correct. My driving license for 6 years. I must have had my driving license for 6 years. Brilliant. I must have parked, not in the, okay, I must have parked my car. You need to say parked what? I must have parked my car not in the right place, or it's the same, in the wrong place. Must have, okay, must have parked my car in the right, not in the right place, or in the wrong place. I must have already finished painting the car. Okay, so it means that you are not sure. Должно быть, я уже закончил покраску машины, but you're not sure. You make a like logical conclusion. It is not very maybe not the best example here. Here's my example. I must have parked my car. I must have parked my car correctly and in a highly visible position. It means that I had to do it. Мне следовало, я должен был припарковать машину правильно. In a highly visible position, like this. Park my car. Okay. Let's use this must have been plus verb with ing. Я, наверное, паркуюсь в этом месте уже 10 лет. Я, наверное, уже пользуюсь вашими услугами 6 лет. Like this. Okay, must have been parking my car here for about 6 years, but you shouldn't say here, in that place, instead of here, because here it's where you're writing the letter now. So it should be in that place or in that spot, like this. You must have been parking, I was calling you. And who is this you? The thing is that you're writing to an insurance company. Yes? Oh, you must have been parking when I was calling you. So the situation is that somebody damaged your car while you were parked at the side of the road. And you're writing to the insurance company, so you want to get some money to have your car repaired, and the person who works in the insurance company was not parking the car. You were not calling him or her, so it's not suitable for this situation. Well, grammatically the sentence is correct, Vitaly, but you cannot use it in this letter because you will deviate from the topic. Okay, while Natalia is finishing, here's my example. I must have been parking my car in the same spot for a good 3 years. So instead of saying for 3 years, you can say for 3 years or so. And I have never had the slightest problem with parking here. So here's an example. Okay, the driver of the other car must have been parking his car and didn't. No, Natalia. If you say that the driver must have been parking, it means he must have been doing it for some time until now and did not notice my car. You can say the driver of the other car must be parking his car. Must have been parking. It's not suitable for that situation. So and hasn't noticed my car. It means you are standing near your car and writing a letter. But you're talking about a situation in the past. He didn't notice. You can say probably. Here it's just past continuous. The driver of the car was probably parking his car, or he had. It was likely that he was parking his car, but not this situation, unfortunately. So it's I must have been doing something until now. Right. So let's use an inversion. Not only, but also. For example, not only was the mirror of my car broken, but also, well, you can say the steering wheel was out of order, something like this. Okay, Tatiana, this is inversion. After not only, you need to use the word order like in a question. For example, he's my friend and a colleague. Not only is he my friend, but he is also a colleague. You don't say he is, you say is he. So here you should say, not only was the bumper of my car damaged. It's very important. If you put not only in the beginning of the sentence, then it's like the rest is like a question. My car damaged. But also the front left door was, and you say what? Okay, was scratched, for example. Not only was the okay, yes, Tatiana, that's right. You need a second verb after but also. But also the front door was scratched. Let it be like this. Especially in writing. In speaking, it would be more or less okay, but in writing, you need the second verb as well. Well, here is my example while Natalia and Vitaly are finishing. Not only was the rear bumper dented and scratched, but the rear left indicator was smashed beyond repair. Okay. All right. So again, Vitaly, you need to use inversion. So not only was my car economical, but I also felt good driving it. But I also enjoyed driving it. A great deal. Or a lot. Not only was my car economical, but I also enjoyed driving it a great deal. Or I also enjoyed driving it a lot. Okay. Not only was the window. No, it's called windshield. Windscreen or windshield. There are two words. Windscreen, that's British, and windshield, that's American. You don't call it a window. Windshield. Like this. Not only was the windshield broken, but also the back mirror was crashed. Okay, you need a comma before but punctuation. The rest is okay. Right. Having plus past participle. Let's try to use such a sentence. Having done something, something else happened. I'll just show you my example. Having rear-ended me, the driver tried to hightail it out of there. And if you noticed, here I used some words that are not very formal. So, for instance, and this is one method that you can use. If you don't know a formal word, but you only can use a spoken word, you can put this into inverted commas or quotation marks. And so it is not you who says it. It's like you quoting someone, and then it is okay. Just one method of using colloquial expressions in your essays and formal letters. So having rear-ended me, the driver tried to hightail it out of there. No, not having petrol. The car stopped. If you notice here, having rear-ended me, there is no driver in this. I didn't say having driver rear-ended me. I didn't say it. It's like, well, you can say having run out of petrol. That would be like this. Having run out of petrol. You don't, because petrol is a subject, and petrol was finished. And in this construction, you shouldn't use a subject. Израсходовав бензин, машина остановилась. But you cannot say, well, it just doesn't make sense. So, but you can say, having run out of petrol. And then petrol is not a noun, it's not a subject here. The car stopped in the middle of the road. All right. But you should also mention whose car was it? Was it your car or the other driver's car? Well, now it's more or less abstract sentence, but in the real letter you need to add it. Which car is that? Yours or the at-fault driver's? And also, Tatiana, in your sentence, you can say, when the petrol was finished, the car stopped. And then petrol is the subject here. But here the subject should be the car and not petrol, if you use having done something. Okay, having run out of petrol, the car of my friend's car stopped. Stop, it's double P, by the way. Okay, grammatically it's correct, Tatiana. Having run out of petrol, you can say it, yes. Stopped with double P. But again, in this letter that we are discussing now, your friend is not mentioned. It's your car and the other driver's car, not your friend. So grammatically, your sentence is correct now. Well, except it's better to say my friend's car. Or you can say at fault driver's car, or the other driver's car stopped. All right, this is more or less fine, but it would be better if you use as a subject some animate noun, одушевленное существительное. Сделав что-то, кто-то что-то еще сделал. It's not the car. It should be a person. It will sound more natural. Now your sentence is grammatically correct, but this construction, like having been born in St. Petersburg, I think I've spent all my life here. I've spent every day of my life in the city. So having been born, it's about me, and I have spent. It's also about me, and it's about a person. So this construction will sound more natural if you use it to talk about a person. Okay, having turned off the lights, he stopped the car. All right, grammatically it's correct. Okay, then having been, and here it will be passive. Having been done. Let me give you an example. Having been rather heavily destroyed, and then you can use it about inanimate object because it's passive. Or having suffered extensive damage, my car is still being repaired by the mechanic. If you can make such a sentence, please try to make it. Having been, so you can say, having done something, the driver stopped, or the driver crashed into my car. But you can also say it about a car. Having been rather heavily destroyed, my car is still being repaired by the mechanic. You can make a sentence like this, that would be great. And you can also use I would rather. So let's try to make one of these constructions. Having been done, or I would rather. It means I would prefer. I would prefer not to have driven my car on that day. Like this. Okay, having done this work, they have to come to our task. Grammatically it's correct, but it's not related to our letter. However, grammatically, yes. Okay, I would rather drive my car than go by bus. Okay, you can use it in this in the last paragraph when you're talking about how much you need a car. Okay, here is my example. I would rather not have parked there. However, or but, I was unable to find any other free parking. This is my example. I would rather. Okay, causative form. It means like I have had my hair cut. I had these shoes bought for me. I have the walls of my room painted. It means you didn't do it yourself, but somebody else did it for you. You can use to have my car repaired. You can use this construction, and then it will sound quite natural according to the situation. My example of causative form would be, I need to have my car repaired as soon as it is humanly possible. To have my car repaired, it means it's called a causative form. It means you don't repair it yourself, but somebody else repairs it for you. There's also, Tatiana, in your last sentence, then, also pay attention to the spelling of the word then. Okay, I will have to have my car painted till the next week. If you say next week, there should be no article. This week, last week, next week should be without article. I need to have my car painted. I will have to have my car painted till the end of the week. I would say till the end of next week. It will sound better. No article before next. Till next week, or till the end of next week, or by the end of, okay, till the end of the week. Okay, great. So Tatiana, I need to have the money returned in the nearest days. Okay. To have your money returned, there is another verb, to refund. So refunded, you can say, instead of returned. There's another word. But it's correct. I mean, your sentence is also correct. I need to have my car painted by the time when my friends come. Not came, come. By the time my friends come, you don't need when. I need to have my car painted by the time my friends come. Okay. And let's make a conditional sentence. It can be a request, for example. I would be really grateful if you could. It would mean a lot to me if you could. You can make it like this. So let's make a conditional sentence. Maybe a request, maybe something else. Or maybe even third conditional. If I hadn't parked my car in that road, my car wouldn't have been damaged so much, or wouldn't have been damaged. Maybe like this. Or maybe a second conditional if it's a request. So here is my example. I would be most grateful to you if you could expedite matters at your end so that I can have my car repaired as soon as possible. Again, you're writing grammatically correct sentences, but you will not be able to use it in this particular letter. If I were you, who? The insurance manager. If you're writing to insurance manager, you will not write this sentence. But grammatically, yes, it is correct. You're writing very abstract sentences that are not connected to our story. Maybe because you didn't listen from the beginning. Now, maybe that's the reason. I would not have bought this car. That's a wonderful example of a mixed conditional, because the beginning is second conditional, the end is third conditional. But according to the story of the letter that we're writing now, you bought the letter yourself. You bought the car yourself, and not. Yes, it's mixed conditionals, absolutely. You bought the car yourself, and not the person. I were you. You're saying this. I would be grateful if you could send me an insurance refund as soon as possible, but not later than next Monday. Yes, except for then, again, spelling. It's like this. Okay, great. So now we have a grammar range. We have a range of different constructions. Must have and the third form. I must have parked my car correctly and in a highly visible position. Must have been doing something. I must have been parking my car in the same spot for a good 3 years or so, and I have never had the slightest problem with parking there. Not only, but also. Not only was, inversion, not only was the rear bumper dented and scratched, but the rear left indicator was smashed beyond repair. Having plus past participle. Having rear-ended me, the driver tried to hightail it out of there. Having been plus past participle. Having, oh, here it's not having been. So the example would be having been damaged. Having been extensively damaged, my car is still being repaired by the mechanic. There is a mistake here. It's not the correct construction. It should be like something like having been damaged extensively, my car is still being repaired by the mechanic. I would rather not have parked there, but I was not able to find any other free parking. Causative, I need to have my car repaired as soon as possible, or as soon as it is humanly possible. I would be most grateful to you if you could expedite matters at your end so that I can have my car repaired as soon as possible. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different constructions that you can add to the letter. They will sound quite natural, and the grammar range will be well, good enough for 9. So, and this letter will become band 9 letter. Right, just by adding 8 sentences. You can use these constructions in essays as well, and in your speaking part. So don't forget about this. Now, let's have a look. Yes, that's right. So let's have a look at another task. And now we're going to actually write this letter, formal letter. There it is. So here is an example. It's again a formal letter that we're going to write at now. You live in a room in a college which you share with another student. However, there are many problems with this arrangement, and you find it very difficult to work. Write a letter to the accommodation officer at the college. In the letter, describe the situation, explain your problems and why it is difficult to work. Say what kind of accommodation you would prefer. Okay, so here is the letter. You say so traditional instructions: write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses. Begin your letter as follows: Dear Sir or Madam. So you can understand that this is a formal letter. You're writing to accommodations officer. You probably do not know this person, so you have a background scenario. It paints the picture of the situation, and all of a sudden you're a college student. So it's not you become a college student and you're complaining of your accommodation, and you can see 3 bullet points. Let me remind you that the examiner looks at 4 things when he or she evaluates your letter. You should write on the topic. You should use precise vocabulary, use accurate grammar, correct grammar, also different grammar constructions, and use logical structure. Logical structure. You have structure in the task. Describe the situation, explain your problems and why it is difficult to work, explain what kind of accommodation you would prefer. Okay, we're going to follow a 6-step method, the same one that we did when we were writing informal and semi-formal letters. Semi-formal and formal letters are not really different. They are almost the same, except maybe in a semi-formal letter you can use idioms. Greeting, dear sir or madam. So, well, there is nothing else. It's ready. Paragraph 1. We're going to give the reason for writing, but you need to keep this reason general. Describe the situation. You can start your sentence with, I am writing to let you know that I. And here is my example. I am writing to let you know that I am unhappy with my current living conditions. While the accommodation itself is fine, my housemate has become intolerable, making it almost impossible for me to work. I hope you will consider my situation favorably. So you don't give any details here yet. Only write the introduction. I'm writing to let you know that I. So you have 3, 4, 5 minutes to write this. So I'm writing to let you know that the neighbors with whom I am living are quite noisy and I have no opportunity to study. Maybe sufficiently, okay? Maybe efficiently. So you can write efficiently, which means effectively. Or you can write sufficiently, which means enough. Very good sentence. I'm writing to let you know that the neighbors with whom I am living are quite noisy and I have no opportunity to study efficiently. Very good. Maybe it's a little bit short because at the end you may have some problems having 150 words in the total. But maybe not. Also, Tatiana, there might be some problems because here you live in a room college which you share with another student. There is only one neighbor, not neighbors. If you write neighbors, you deviate from the topic, and this might, this might cause the score for task achievement. So you should write only one neighbor because it's a student. With another student, it says. Okay, Vitaly, I'm writing to let you know. And thanks for my current living conditions, but I cannot opportunity. All right, so I'm writing to let you know. Let me copy this. So I am writing to let you know. If you say, I'm writing to let you know that I'm grateful for my current living conditions, it means you're writing to let the accommodations officer know that you are thankful for living conditions. But you're not writing for this. You're writing to complain about your living conditions. You can say that you are thankful for the living conditions, but not in the very beginning. In the very beginning, you should say that you are writing to complain about and not to thank. Okay, because it just changes the meaning. So, and then you don't say I am thanks. Не я спасибо за мои. Okay, you say I'm thankful. So I'm writing to let you know. Then you need to say, well, to complain. It should be like this. You can also mention I am thankful. То есть не я спасибо, я благодарен. I'm thankful, or I'm grateful for my current living conditions, but instead of but you can use however. It will sound better because you're not speaking, you're writing. I cannot opportunity. Я не могу возможность. You shouldn't say, it should be different. I don't have an opportunity, right? I do not have an opportunity. And then an opportunity to work. If you say, my neighbors are noisy, okay, I'll also say here, cohesion. My neighbors are noisy whole days. Well, let it be all day long. To sound better. So in here, I've changed it a little bit. I'm writing to let you know, and you say why you're writing it. You can also, well, besides, I'm thankful for my current living conditions, but, or however, I do not have an opportunity to work. Don't mix these two ideas in one sentence. Right? So my neighbors are noisy all day long. You need to connect it. On top of that, in addition, what is more, and it's another sentence. My neighbors are noisy all day long. Don't make them together. Don't mix them. They are two different sentences. Don't forget to use a linking device to connect these two sentences. And that will be much better. Okay, so Tatiana, he is a 5th grade student and he is going to invite his friend even after 11 p.m. and listen to music. Out loud despite my request to switch it off. Okay, but 5th grade student, пятиклассник. And it means that you deviate from the topic because it's a college student and not a school student. That's why you can say maybe 4th year student, like he's a 4th year student, like this at university. So instead of this, you can also use specific vocabulary. 1st year student in English is called freshman. He's a college freshman. Then you can say he's a college sophomore. It means if he studies, if this is his 2nd year. He is a college junior student. It's if this is his 3rd year. Or you can say he's a college senior student. This is his 4th year. So that's how you can put it. But if you say that he is a schoolboy, then it's no good because you're writing about, well, student accommodation in a college. Oops, sorry. So unfortunately, the last one that I copied, this is Vitaly's writing. It was with mistakes. I didn't mean that. Okay, so is there any other? If there are any other pieces of writing, please feel free to copy them in the chat. Okay, and now please explain the situation in detail. In the second part, you need to explain the situation in detail. You should explain your problems and why it is difficult to work. Yes, it says. It's bullet point number 2. You can copy this. Let me explain my situation, or let me explain my situation in detail. Or let me explain my situation in a bit more detail. Or let me explain my situation at length. The trouble started about 3 months ago when my housemate first moved in. Prior to that, everything was fine. Or you can say had been fine. Past perfect is also suitable here. My old housemate was extremely considerate. My current housemate, or you can say, well, all right. My current housemate, however, stays up almost all night and plays incessantly loud music. That's incessantly, non-stop. As such, I have not been able to sleep properly and therefore cannot concentrate on my studies. Here is an example. Now please give a detailed explanation with 2, 3, maybe 4 sentences. You can have 5, 7 minutes for this, maybe 10. So let me explain the situation in detail. My neighbor is a senior student. The spelling of senior is this. Okay, without you. And he's going to invite his friend even after 11 p.m. Not he's going to, but he invites. Because this happens regularly, or this has already happened. You're not talking about the future. You're talking about what has already happened. So not is going to is not suitable here. He's going to, well, okay, he invites his friend even after, friend, maybe friends. I don't think it's just one friend. Friends even after 11 p.m. and listens, so listens to music. Listens to music out loud. Out loud is spelled as one word. Despite my request to switch it off, thus I have not been able to collect my homework completely. Okay, here is the spelling of completely. And also have no opportunity to have proper sleep. After and also, you need to stop here. Don't say and. What is more? Another sentence. What is more? I have no opportunity to have proper sleep or to sleep properly. I have no opportunity to sleep properly. So the spelling of senior. He listens to music out loud. Spelling completely. And don't put it all into one sentence. Make two separate sentences. The same in speaking. Don't connect all sentences with and. Say on top of that, what is more, furthermore, moreover. Okay, let me explain my situation. The trouble started when only once. Okay, the trouble started when they moved to room. Okay, when it's actually one person, because you live with another person. When he moved into room 554 about a month ago. If you say months, you need to say how many months. 2 months, 3 months. About a month ago. Instead of this, you can also say a fortnight ago. Fortnight means 2 weeks. It's a well, not very common piece of vocabulary. Fortnight ago. Yes, Vitaly, according to the task, you live only with one neighbor in the room. Just 1 second. You live with another student. And the task is about about this another, only one, another student. And if you write about other people, you deviate from the topic. Okay. So ago, about a month ago, about a fortnight ago. Дальше запятую ставить не нужно, обязательно точка, начинаем новое предложение. Okay, I don't remember exactly. Maybe. Then it's possible, okay. But remember that this is a formal letter. You shouldn't write contractions. Don't. I do not remember. Then, talking about night, they listen to music out loud. Okay, if listened to music, watch TV. I could not, after there's no to, I could not fall asleep. Okay, I could not. You can use present simple because it happens regularly, yes? Every night, like this, every night they listen to loud music and watch TV. I cannot fall asleep and so cannot fall asleep. Therefore, I do not feel well. The following morning. Okay. Maybe like this. You can also use inversion here. Not only do they listen to music, but they also watch TV. Yes? To use a range of different constructions. Not only do they listen to loud music every night, but they also watch TV. Okay. And also, Vitaly, if you write last night, this is not the proper reason to change a neighbor. If it happened only once and only last night. Okay. So, Natalia, let me explain my situation in detail. My life changed dramatically when my neighbor came from the hospital and his friends must have been visited him. No, must have visited. because have been visited, this is passive, and it's, his friends must have visited. It should be active. Almost all days and nights, okay? But it's very good that you use modal verb and perfect infinitive. I do understand that Peter, that is my neighbor, does need the help and assistance of his friends, but it would be much more convenient for me to get ready for the exams if there were not visitors, at least after 7 p.m. Were no visitors, if there were no visitors. Like this. Or if there weren't any visitors. So I would have a chance to study at least 2 hours a day. Okay, very good, very good. There's some very good examples of grammar. Okay, so where were we? Describe the situation, give details. And now, let's make a request. 5 minutes. Remember, say what type of accommodation you would prefer. Here there is a little deviation from the topic, from the task. In task achievement, in this paragraph, no type of accommodation is mentioned, and this is not very good. It just says, would you kindly transfer me or my housemate to a different room? You need to say, I would like a single room. But it's not necessary. I would much prefer to live with someone who is quieter, or double room, who is quieter and more considerate of others. As long as it is quiet, do not mind whom I live with. It says what type. You also need to mention it. In this example, the grammar is fine, vocabulary is fine, but you also need to mention that I would like to have a single room, but if you don't have a single room, I can live with someone who is quieter and more considerate of others, and then I don't mind who I live with. Okay, would you kindly offer me a single room as long as my neighbor recovers? First of all, it's a question. You need a question mark at the end. Maybe as soon as my neighbor recovers, because it's about time and not condition. Besides a neighbor, you can also say roommate. It's a synonym for neighbor. Okay, so I would prefer a separate room for me only at the 6th floor if it is. Okay, 6th floor. If it is possible. So it's 6th floor if it is possible, or with someone who is the same freshman. Или с кем-нибудь, кто такой же. Okay, in Russian it's okay, in English. Who is also a freshman like me. Who is a freshman like me. This is the English. Why I mentioned it's a question. Why have I mentioned? Or why did I mention? It's a question. The 6th floor, because as I have information, there is living just freshman. Only freshmen and sophomores live there. Without there is, there are. Or you can say there are only freshmen and sophomore. One freshman, two freshmen, not freshmen. If you say there is, then you say there is. Also, but there are, because it's plural. If you say live, you should say live. Only one of them. So there is a table in the room, I live there. So only live or only there is. Okay, a table is standing in the room or there is a table in the room. So only freshmen and sophomore live there, which have the same exact, which have the same exam schedule. Okay, exam is spelled like this. Exam schedule as me, and I definitely will have. Definitely. Will have a chance to pass my exams with flying colors. Have a chance. To pass an exam with flying colors. Natalia, do you mean writing letters or only printed letters during the exam? What do you mean? When you're writing by hand or writing on a computer? Can you please explain what you mean by your question? Okay, I will have chance to pass my exams with flying colors. Vitaly, it is considered to be important to me, not for me. I want to transfer or move charges to another room. Is this possible? Okay, what does mean charges? I don't understand what you mean by charges here. Is this possible? But it would be more polite to say, would it be possible? Is it possible is correct, but would it be possible? This is a better grammar, more difficult grammar, and it's more polite. Would it be possible like this? So if you, Natalie, if you mean writing by hand, you can use cursive letters. They don't have to be printed. Ah, okay. So the only thing is that your handwriting should be understandable. Because if it is intelligible, неразличимый, then you lose marks, you lose points for this. So as long as it is easy to understand what you are writing, it's okay. But to be on the safe side, I would recommend to use printed letters rather than writing with cursive. But if you're sure that you'll be properly understood, then no problem with that. In the bottom of your answer sheet, if you download an answer sheet for writing from the internet, you can see that at the bottom of this answer sheet there are some marks for the examiner, and the examiner can write, for example, memorized sentences. You lose 1 point for a lot of memorized sentences, or for some handwriting that cannot be understood, that is unintelligible. Yes. You also lose marks for this, and so on. Okay, so let's finish our letter. Thank you for your consideration. Yours faithfully, and then say your first name and last name. Can I ask you just to copy this, because while you're copying it, it will be easier for you to memorize it. Just 1 minute. With your name and surname, because you will start memorizing these expressions. Thank you for your consideration. Yours faithfully, all right? Okay, Vitaly, thank you for your consideration. Yours faithfully, Vitaly. All right. Okay. Antonio, the same. Okay, thank you for your consideration. Yours faithfully, Natalia Maslova. Right. So thank you for your participation today. Are there any questions for me about letters? Tomorrow we're going to have speaking. Please prepare 1 cue card, maybe 2 cue cards. We'll have time for that. We'll begin with part 1 questions. Then each of you will answer a cue card. Is there a dot at the end? Not necessarily. It's not necessary. But you can put it. Okay, any other questions?